managers you've known or people in the game, what's some advice that stuck out that they've given you so far?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is, be yourself, take time to breathe. You're going to have time to do things. I think that was one of the best pieces of advice. I think as I've gotten into this, it's been a lot of stuff thrown at me from all different directions. You feel like you've got a million things to get done. And some of the best advice I got was, hey, you'll get it done. You don't need to do everything in one day. And I've really taken that to heart and obviously been able to delegate a lot to the other coaches. They've been a huge support to me. So I haven't felt too overwhelmed because of those advices.
Have you seen some of the, like Craig or Scott or those people here yet? And just what, if you have, what are those interactions?
I haven't seen Scott or Craig yet. I've spoken with them on the phone each a couple times, but I got to run into Brian Snicker last night and just shared a moment with him and was able to chat with him and Derek Shelton, who was my hitting coach with the Tampa Bay Rays. And so just some other people that have really, AJ Hinch, Aaron Boone, they've all reached out just expressing, their congratulations and we're here if you ever need anything. And the amount of support that I've felt over the last month has just been really I'm in awe with it, yeah.
You said you've had a whole bunch thrown at you over the last few weeks. I want to say, how would you describe what it's been like since the moment you found out to now?
Yeah, I mean, the best way I describe it is I got thrown into the deep end of the pool with my hands tied behind my back and then one cinder block, and I'm kicking the cinder blocks off and I've got one arm out, so I'm able to get to the surface now. But it's just been a lot, but all good. And I've, realizing how big and how many resources the Cleveland Guardians have in order to help me with this onboarding process. And the way that Chris and the group have really laid it out, it's getting me on board enough every day to where I'm handling a lot, but I've never felt overwhelmed. I've never felt like I've had too much on my plate.
Steven, have you seen what Jose Ramirez has been doing in the Dominican Republic last 2-3 weeks maybe?
I just think it's so awesome for him to get to play in front of his hometown crowd, and I know how much pride he has in where he's from and what Dominican League baseball means to him. And I spoke with him before he went to play, and he just expressed how excited he was to get to play in front of those people, in front of that crowd. And I just couldn't be more happy for him. And it's just such a cool thing that he's doing it.
You as a manager and Cleveland as an organization, what is your philosophy on a guy with such a high profile that you're so invested in playing winter ball, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it might be?
I think it's a case-by-case basis, right? I mean, Jose's earned that opportunity. If he wants to do that, we trust that he's going to go and he's going to play the way he plays, and he's going to be ready. Jose's never going to go do something when he's not ready to do it. And so for somebody of his stature and what he means to us here in Cleveland, if he wants to go play in front of his hometown, who am I to say, no, you can't do that? He's more than earned that right. And again, I can't wait to hear him tell me about his experience doing it, and I couldn't be more happy for him and his family.
Steven, from that line, you played Bieber. How much that helped your career, and you think it's going to help you now for your managerial career?
Nothing prepared me more for playing in the big leagues than going and playing winter ball in Venezuela. It's game 7 every night. When you get a hit, they love you. When you get out, they want you to go home, and they let you know. And I had firecrackers thrown at me. I had beer bottles, water bottles, everything thrown at me. It's the most intense baseball I've ever played besides the major leagues. And I think it's going to help me a lot in this role. We have a young Latin team. A lot of our young guys are Latin, and being able to relate, seeing where some of them grew up, experiencing that. I also played in Colombia and got to experience those beautiful countries. And I think of those experiences, those 2 years I've drawn back on as a player and now as a coach and manager a lot.
Steven, why is Craig Alvarez going to be a good bench coach for you?
Craig Alvarez is one of the smartest baseball people on this planet. I've known him for over 13, 14 years. We were teammates. We were competing for the same position as players, competing for the same position as coaches, and we've supported each other and had each other's backs. We're not afraid to tell each other the truth. We're not afraid to challenge each other and make each other better. And again, he's experienced everything you can experience in this game up to this point. Been a minor league manager, minor league field coordinator. He's been a major league coach. He's been a game planner. He's done it. He's done everything you can do leading up to this point, and he's 100% ready to be a great bench coach. And I couldn't be more proud to have him standing next to me in every single game. Yeah, I mean, Kai's going to bring a lot to the table for us. Kai obviously what a great story Kai Correa's coaching career is and how hard he worked to get to this point. And having 4 years of bench coach experience and then transitioning to the field coordinator, he's going to be such a great resource for our infield coach, for our outfield coach, for our base running coach. He's going to be a great resource for Craig and myself in game, before and after games. I couldn't be more excited to have Kai on board, and I really think that with him, it really rounds out all of our staff and that support for the rest of the staff.
Have you had a chance yet to talk with Bo Naylor?
I have. I connected with Bo, yeah.
Just being a catcher, what have you seen from his rookie season last year, and what are your thoughts on him moving forward?
I mean, Bo's a talented player. He's young, and it's exciting to see where he could get to. And all I expressed to him is I said, look, you've already had the opportunity to work with Sandy Alomar Jr., and you're going to continue to do that. And there's no better person to mentor him than Sandy, as well as having Craig Albernaz and myself, having 3 catchers on the staff to help support Bo in his first full season. The first full season as a catcher is a different beast. You know, he got his feet wet, he got his experience, and like I said, the talent is there. Now it's putting the pieces together to become an elite catcher, and he's going to have some great resources around him to do that.
When you're reaching out to these players, I know you've said like it's their off season, you don't want to bug them too much. So what tact do you take to make sure, is it the same message to everybody? Is it something different to everybody? Like, well, how do you make sure you're both reaching out so they know you're a resource for them if they want it, but also not being overbearing when they don't even really know you yet?
It's a fine line, right? And I honor the off season a lot, and no one wants to hear from their manager in the off season that often. I mean, that time with your family, the time away from the field, the time away from the game is really, really important for people to be able to turn off. And so when I reach out, I just ask questions. I'm trying to get to know them on a little bit of a surface level, maybe a little deeper with some, but also picking their brains. What's worked for you guys? What's been going really well here? What do we need to continue to do? And what are a couple things you'd like to see done a little bit differently? I really want to hear from them because it's their clubhouse, it's their team, and I'll never forget that. And so really trying to gather information from all the players on what it is they want to see and where they think we can improve. Because if they feel like there's an area that needs improvement, then it's our job as coaches to dive into that and see where we can improve.
This might sound really dumb. Why do you want to do this?
I love baseball. This game has given my family and me everything. It's been my first love on the planet Earth besides my family my whole life. I know I'm a leader. I know I can get the best out of the people around me. I don't know everything. I've never pretended to know everything. I want a lot of smart people around me to help. I'm really good at leading people, and I want to help a group of guys go out there and win a World Series. And I feel like I've got a good opportunity to do that here in Cleveland, and that's why I want to do this.
When you were talking to your introductory presser, you said you had lunch with Shane in Arizona. I'm wondering if that was by design or coincidence, because it sounded like that was the first player that you had actually met. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, it just was kind of by circumstance. I was there for the GM meetings the day that they announced the hiring, and when I reached out to him, I said, hey, do you want to connect via phone? He's like, hey, I'm in Arizona. And I said, would you want to grab lunch? It just kind of happened organically. But it was a really good lunch. It was fun to get to know Shane and not have to face him anymore. And, and really just get a chance to know him and hear from him how he feels things are going in Cleveland and just get his opinion and pick his brain on a lot of things, and really enjoyed getting to know Shane better.
He's already been in discussion and trade. Obviously, you know the conversation, the contract situation. I know you're going to talk in specifics, but just the general tenor of your conversation with him in terms of his future with Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, we focus on right here, right now. Until we hear something otherwise, Shane's here, and it's one of those things that I've been through as a player, been through as a coach. It's never fun when you see your name floating, but you know what? Shane's got a really good perspective, and he's here, and he wants to be a guardian, and that's what excites me. And right now he's our guy.
Steven, you guys, this is kind of an offensively challenged team. How are you going to improve your run production, power production this season?
Well, we got a lot of guys working hard right now in the wintertime addressing those issues, right? Or those needs, I should say. And we're talking a lot internally with the hitting group and getting together with how we can message how we want to try and drive the ball better, what pitches are we looking for to do damage on and things like that. The thing that we've got to keep perspective on too is we have a very young team, and power doesn't usually come. Power comes with experience. And so for some of our younger guys, it's learning, hey, this is when you take a chance. This is when you go for it. and how do we teach that? How do we message that as a group? And I think for us, we're really diving into some of those things internally with our groups and hoping to get that messaging across. I've had some conversations with players about these things already, and guys are working really hard, and we're getting really good feedback from our group in Arizona with the guys that are training there, and then our different feedback from around the world of guys hitting it. It's guys are addressing it, and so we're going to do some things a little differently. We're going to do some things maybe, but a lot of it's going to be the messaging that we choose.
It seems like you got 4 hitting coaches. Is that?
We
am I reading that right?
we have 3 hitting coaches, and then we brought on Josh Tubbs to be a hitting analyst. And so what he's going to do is he's going to be able to bring a lot of the analytics and a lot of the advanced scouting. He's going to handle a lot of that stuff so that Val, Vic, and Espo can be in the cage with our hitters, and then they'll finish off the advance with the scouting report for how we're going to go beat the starter that night. So it's kind of just bringing another mind, another set of eyes to the hitting group that's going to really enhance our game plan going into every game.
You're coming from an organization that's done a pretty good job in developing young pitching. You're coming to an organization that has really done a good job with it. Are there any commonalities between the two? Why are those two teams so good?
They've got great people doing the pitching. Our minor league group in Seattle was phenomenal, major league group. And then here you talk about Carl Willis. Can't say enough about what Carl's done in this game and continues to do, and what Joel Mangrum has done leading that minor league group. Is just getting to know the people and the system here. They preach pitching, they preach attacking the zone, they preach your best stuff in the zone, and they are very, very similar, Seattle and Cleveland, with their pitching process. And I'm excited. We've got a ton of good arms coming, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Stephen, you've obviously played for some of the managers that are wandering around here, and you're going to be competing against them. Anybody giving you any particular good advice from that former manager? Are you picking their brains?
Yeah, I mean, I'm me. I'm always going to ask questions. I'm always going to pick people's brains, and everybody I've talked to has just been super supportive. Like you said, I've either played for or worked with 8 of the other managers now, and or 9. Wow. So I'm very connected with all of them, and they've been nothing but great to me. And all of them have said, anytime you need anything, please reach out. Except for the 3 to 12 games we play against each other, we hope you kick your butt. But and I said, well, no, we do. And so it's been fun. It's been fun to see them. It's still weird thinking that I'm a peer now. It doesn't feel that way yet, but it will come opening day, I'm sure.
Stephen, how has your experience as a catcher helped you connect with players from all different positions?
I mean, it's everything. I've been a position player. I know what they're thinking when they're struggling or when they're going well, and I've dealt with pitchers my whole career and worked with them and understanding what the difference is between being a starter, reliever. The fact that if a starter has a bad start, he's got to sit on it for 4 days, and he's got to come back out and do it again. And so being a catcher has allowed me to have those experiences, as well as a lot of exposure to the manager. And, I had some phenomenal managers that let me in probably a little deeper than most and showed me some things. And so all of those experiences are going to help me tremendously. And I can't thank all of my coaches and managers enough for showing me those things as a player, because it helped get me here today.
Stephen, just going back to Jose for 1 second. I know as a player, I'm sure you had your own opinion of who he was, but now that you're in this position and you see the reputation that he has and the age that he is, and he's still wanting to go play over the winter, what does that sort of show you about him, or what more do you learn about him whenever you see these kinds of things?
Yeah, it confirmed everything. I mean, it comes down to the way he walks on the field. That walk tells you everything you need to know about him, is that he's never going to stop working. He's never going to stop fighting. He's never satisfied. He's going to continue to want to be the best version of himself, and he's going to make improvements over and over and over. And when your best player and your leader acts that way, you can't help but jump on board if you're another player in that clubhouse and want to do the same things that Jose's doing on a regular basis. And I can't wait to get to know him better and watch him play every day. I've loved watching him play, hated watching him play because he kills us, but I can't wait to be on the same side as him and see the way he leads our group by example.
Just curious on your philosophy with starting pitching. This is what he does 3rd time through the order. This is what opponents do versus, well, tonight he looks great. Maybe his velocity's a little off, better spin metrics. How do you balance what you're seeing in the game versus the information coming in? You make those decisions that often get second guessed.
Yeah, I mean, you balance it. It's exactly that. It's getting together with our group, talking ahead of time of how many pitches we feel like he has tonight, and then you use your eyes. You know, there's nights where, yeah, there's a predetermined, we're pulling him at this point because of pitch count or because of another factor. But at the end of the day, when a pitcher's rolling, and you got to know the balance of that. And that comes with just watching the game and understanding the flow of the game. Is it a back and forth game? Is it a high scoring game, low scoring game? All of those factors get puzzled into it. There's not one philosophy. I don't think anybody has one philosophy. You can't blindly follow the numbers, and you can't blindly follow your eyes. You have to be able to take all of the information, make an educated decision, and then trust what you're seeing out there on the field every night.
Stephen, the front office, we were talking to Cherney and Chris yesterday, and they said, that they like the relationship with you because sometimes you'll push back on issues that they suggest. What kind of stuff? When do you push back?
Man, I mean, we haven't gotten too deep into it yet, 1 month in, but there's just some things that are baseball. And our group is very baseball minded as well. It's not, I always say there's no number out there that has a 1 in front of the decimal. There's nothing that is 100% in this game. And so there's always going to be a disagreement. 90% of the time, whatever the analytics are suggesting in the baseball decision, 90% of the time, those are going to align. It's the 10% that we have got to make a decision. Sometimes you're going to go with the number. Sometimes you're going to go with what your baseball instinct is telling you. And those are when we're going to have those back and forths. But when I went through this interview process and when I was hired, I was told that I'm not going to just give in. If I have an opinion that's different, I want to push back on it. And then that creates dialogue, and that helps us come up with a better idea where we can meet up somewhere and decide that, yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
Yes, Stephen, you mentioned Carl Willis earlier, and these subsequent questions have been about, third time through the order and decision making. Just what was the dynamic as far as how much you're actually going to lean on Carl with his experience and knowing that staff when it comes to these decisions?
I mean, as much as I can without him falling over. I mean, obviously, like with Carl's experience with knowing what we're doing, I mean, he's going to be heavily involved with making it. Ultimately, it's my decision, and I'm going to own it, and I'm going to wear it, whether it's good, bad, and indifferent. But Carl's going to be a huge support system of mine. He's forgotten more about pitching in baseball than I've seen, and I'm going to lean very heavily on him. And again, we're going to have a lot of conversations leading into the game, and then we're going to go out there and we're going to watch the game and see what's going on. And we'll be talking constantly throughout the game.
Do you foresee moving Jimenez to shortstop, or do you think you've got a shortstop in camp or on the roster, and Jimenez will play second?
I mean, first of all, let's talk about Jimenez just winning the Platinum Glove at second base and what he brings to our team at second base. And we feel really good about our young group of shortstops. We really do. I mean, there's, between Rocchio and Arias getting the bulk of the reps last year, we feel really good about those two. But we also have Tenna. We also have, Freeman. We've got people that can play shortstop. Jimenez, he's a phenomenal second baseman, and we feel really good about our young group of shortstops. And to that extent, I'll add on, Rugi Odor has a great relationship with these kids, and he's a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal teacher. And I could not be more excited that Rugi Odor is going to be on our staff and what he's going to bring for these young shortstops. It's going to be great.
With center field, how do you see that shaking out?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see when we get to camp, right? I mean, Miles is working hard right now. We'd love to see him in center field. We also have some other options. So we're going to see what happens when we get to spring training, and I'm excited to have a little competition during camp, and we'll see where we go from there.
The most important part of your role is that we can see or can evaluate with the decision. What goes on behind the scenes?
Building relationships with the 75 people that are in our clubhouse every day. When everybody feels valued, when everybody feels heard, when everybody feels like they're a part of this, it's dangerous. And I have the capacity to do that, and that's my job, is to bring those 75 people together every day. And I'm going to lean a lot on my staff to help me do that. But everything we do as an organization, everything we do as a staff, everything we do as a support staff, is to provide our 26 players everything they need to go out and play. It is about the 26 players every single night. It's about them, their career, coming together to win baseball games for us.
Played for a lot of different managers. Was there one that you style you like the best? Or you like the most?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a hybrid of all of them. You know, Bob Melvin, obviously, spent 5 years with him. I'm a little more energetic and a little more emotional than Bob. I envy his stoicism at times. I can't do that. But, you know, honestly, it's a hybrid of all of them. I've taken something from all of my managers, starting with Matt Quatraro in short season and all the way through working for Scott Service last year and about 12 people in between. And I've played for some phenomenal people and worked with some phenomenal people and tried to take what they do really well and make it my own. And I feel like I'm kind of a hybrid of all of that with my personality and my energy. And it's kind of what you're going to see.